Hello, people. This week I read The Time of Contempt, which is book 2 in the Witcher series. The odd Witcher series. What do I mean? Well, how am I going to say this? I guess I'll start with the main Galarian issue and then sort of just go into the parts that I like. The one Galarian issue, the issue with this book and the other book, which is book 2 in, is that our author doesn't seem to care about, you know, chapter or book as boundaries whatsoever. So, imagine it's just one big book. It's not. He wrote like 4 different ones. But imagine it's just one and you just randomly just go, whoosh, that's a book. And I mean randomly. The starts, the stops feel random. The chapters will change course just from one point to another randomly. You'll get introduced to characters and then the thread will just get cut off and that person's gone randomly. I say randomly because you can have this in other books and it builds to something, the threads connect, this kind of an energy. This is not what this book does. It goes down a track full on like it matters. Then the conductor just sort of walks up to you and you're like, oh yeah, your ticket only goes for half this distance, so you got to get off. And you get off and the train may keep going, or you thought it's going to go further, and then he's like, oh, right, the trip ends now. Like, I thought we had like another 7 hours. Nah, it's just 45 minutes and trip's over. It's very, very strange. The characters are the same, Yennefer, Ciri, Geralt, from book 1. But there's not a lot of carryover. The world is the same. But there's not really a point to have stopped one to start the other. We just randomly do it. This is just randomly. This is the Time of Contempt. Why? Who knows? No real reason. Could this have been tacked to the other book? Just as easily. Could a third of the other book been tacked into this one? I don't see why not. It's just odd. It is just odd. And it's consistently this oddness. And not in a way that I see as beneficial to anything at all. It's not confusing. So, occasionally, you'll lose some connective tissue as to how I got from this point to that point. But you catch back up quickly enough. It doesn't make sort of the internal politics of the world inconsistent in any way. So it doesn't interfere with anything. It's just there for no reason. It's very strange. It's very strange. So in that sense, do you need to read book 1 to read book 2? No, you can go right to book 2. You know, if the author doesn't care, why should you? You can read book 1. I bet you could read 1, 3, 2, 4, and the story might just feel just exactly the same as if you read them in order. Makes no sense to me. It really doesn't. We start with Applegat. I think I said that right. Royal Messenger. Going out and about, doing Royal Messenger stuff. It's full on. You get a description of him, his horse, the tiredness, the land. Everything's building like it's a normal book. And this is a character in it. And so you invest in this character. He's just going to randomly die. He randomly goes down one area and just gets shot in the back. Do we pan to the person who shot him? Is that person? Not really. It's just a random elf. Was he delivering a kind of a note? Not really. He was just right. You know, it's... In the course of him existing, you get more of a sense of the world, of Nilfgaard and dwarves and the politics of the, interactions between the races, etc., etc. You get a nice injection of that, but the character itself just goes away. And you just shrug, and you're like, okay, that was a thing. That's just an example. And he starts the book like that. Just an example of what he does. No reason whatsoever. Now, what I will say in his defense is I have this on Audible, on audio book, and books can in an actual print version. I don't think this has it in it. No, because it's Frank Herbert. This doesn't have it in it. But you can imagine, right? So you'll get like a random page, yeah? And over here, like let's just say this is like 5 paces long, right? So it goes from here to here, a blank space. You can do that in a physical book, and my eye will pick up on some sort of jump in perspective, a jump in time, any kind of a break. You can also do a large space and give me ye old 3 dots, just 3 equally spaced dots. And then visually I have some sort of indication that we've gone from a ship to the land, that I went from the horses to a castle, any number of things. Now maybe that's in the printed version. I cannot say. I don't have the printed version with me. And I don't know that I've found an audiobook version of that. So I don't think I've read an actual book yet that has the dots that I can then compare it to the actual audio version. I usually have one or the other. I don't have that yet, so I can't be guaranteed on that, on what the audio would do with that. Would it give me a chime? What would it do? I'm not exactly sure. I think sort of a longer than normal pause in speaking would be enough of a hint for me. In any case, we get none of that. I get no. So maybe there's that in some intra-chapter delineations are made that you can follow. But I do know from chapter to chapter, it makes no real sense. So that's just, just to give him that leeway, I guess. So after our first character dies for no reason, we cut to Geralt, the Witcher, the reason we're all here. And he's talking to Codringer, like a spy kind of information broker situation. It's very cool. He's trying to find a way to defend Ciri, this young girl in his charge. And this Codringer's idea, I believe, is misinformation, essentially. He's saying, there's this long history wherein, what's her name? The Lioness of Cintra, the Lion Queen of Cintra. Normally women can't rule here. Through a convoluted series of intricacies, she ends up ruling. She does a good job. But then it's sort of secession. No one rules forever. Secession becomes a bit of a problem. And in the course of these meanderings, it turns out Ciri is like an option for people to secede. So if you find some girl, some kid, somebody with a claim to the throne, the powers that be can get behind that person, propel him to the throne, and then sort of say, the old is out, the new is in, and of course, I'm sitting pretty because I helped the guy get in the seat. Sort of a power play like this. It's all on the up and up because I have lineage to fall back on. So, if she's caught up in this, all we have to do is break that idea. So, if no one thinks that she is a lineage that can get the throne, then no one's even bothering to look for her. That's what he's trying to do. He's going to send the appropriate whispers out into the appropriate places and start this whole thing that makes it look like she's just some, some nobody that you don't have to worry about. It's a pretty cool idea. I don't mind it. We cut to Yennefer and Ciri, and they're going to Gosvalin. I think that's the name. The city built by mages, essentially, where there's a bunch of enchanters and spellcasters and what not. And she does a cool trick where, with magic, she makes herself unbelievably attractive. But then that's what all the mages are going to do. So she has to keep up appearances. We get this kind of a vibe from it. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool little use of magic. They're, on the whole, I don't get enough magic used. I don't get enough monsters hunted. I don't get enough Witcher action in this book, if I'm going to be 100% honest with you. But it was, it's a cool little bit. Our series with her, and she's a Witcher-trained girl who, the Witcher training is apparently not more powerful than being 14 years old. She acts a bit juvenile. It's somehow just still not annoying. This book does this. So, I like almost every character in this book. I see them very clearly. I care. I'm invested. And I want to be more invested than I'm allowed to be. It's sort of like a really nice house, but between you and the house is like a lot of tall weeds that are sort of in your face. So you're like, I can't really see because of the weeds, but I like what I'm looking at. This kind of an energy. It's just very strange. It's almost like you like the characters in spite of the writing, which makes them feel more real. Like he's talking about real people, but he's a bad writer. And so you're seeing past his bad writing to like the real people, but they're not real people. That's all made up by him. I haven't experienced this often. Normally, if it sucks in one regard, it sucks in all regards. Or if you get it... Normally, the characters are harder to get than the rest of it. Normally, that you could just fill the rest in easy enough. He somehow doesn't. It's very strange. We get a glimpse of sort of the schooling she was going to get. Margarita, mistress of the school. I think I got that name right. I don't know. Yennefer's going to leave Ciri here to get trained up in magic. Now, why Yennefer just doesn't teach her, I can't say. They don't say. No one really asks. They were just going to leave her here. Of course, this doesn't happen. Things go pear-shaped. But this was the plan. Again, I would like more on this school. I would like a full Harry Potter-esque training montage situation. Don't get any of that. I don't get any of it. I'm going kind of quick on this, and I feel like I'm kind of negative, but I got to give it some credit. We have a good amount of world building. The interactions between the different lands, that one land across the way may be trying to change how magic's taught, how the enemies may be lining up for war, the interactions between dwarves and halflings and elves, etc. It does a good job of world building. Like I say, I feel like I see the world very much real, very much alive. It's just, I guess, not enough of it, or the focus on this book is more love story. There's just more about the love story between Yennefer and Geralt. Which, again, that's not bad. It's not annoying. It's convoluted. We get a perfect example is this. I think it's just one chapter, but I swear it felt like 7. It's just this chapter of Geralt and Yennefer at a party. And it's just a lot of political talk introspective kind of, who are you? Where are you from? These pointed conversations. It's just at a party, though. So you got a bunch of magically clad enchantresses and mages, and we're making mock food, and we're using spells and this and that kind of thing. And on the one hand, you're like, well, this is cool. But on the other hand, you're like, I don't. It's not what I thought I was going to get. I thought I was getting, let's kill a demon kind of energy. Instead, I'm getting kind of like CW Gossip Girls or whatever the crap's on the CW now. It's just these claws coming out at a dinner party, and I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. And again, I don't have a reason to care. I kind of get a sense by this time that none of these characters matter. What matters is this character going to carry on through the stories? Are they going to have some impact? No. Later, a bunch of them just end up dead because they get invaded. So I have in my mind, while the invasion's happening, an idea of who's doing what, which one sided with the invaders, which ones fought the invaders, who died, who lived. I think the old headmistress dies, shooting fireballs or something. But you're like, eh. I don't. What is it? Like he eats some sort of projected food, like some magically projected food. It's not real. I understand these characters aren't real. So I'm not, as a reader, going to ingest them in any kind of a real meaningful way. I know they're not going to last. I don't put my back into it, so to speak. Sort of the problem with this style. That party, though, what a pain. We start to see, okay, they have, what do they call it? The squirtile. God, this is goofy to me, and I don't know, but the evil elves sort of call themselves squirrels and put squirrel ear tails on their headbands and on their person to delineate that they're, bad. These squirrel elves will kill a lot of people. They're very violent, like horribly violent. I get like, what is it? The IRA. Is it the IRA? The Irish, when the Irish were going ham. I get very deep Irish, I'll blow anyone up kind of violence from them. They really do kill a lot of people. I think they killed our royal messenger at the beginning. But that their nickname is Squirrel, it's just not imposing at all. It just throws me every time I hear it. And I know we try and give it this kind of a weird elven accent, Squirtile, but then I just keep hearing Squirtle. It's not good. And I keep trying to wrap my brain around it, and it won't go. It's just not intimidating. But we do get a look in on their situation. And they're propelled by, what do we call it? The Elder Blood legend. Legend being that, what is this? From Folkar's blood will be born an avenger who will destroy the old world and build a new world on its ruins. And I'm pretty sure that in all of their research, they're reading through all their scrolls, they got it in their head that Ciri is this elder blood that will, upend the world and put elves back on supremacy instead of men. And so they're very eager to get a hold of her. And I think that's what this invasion was all about. I mean, they had always had a lot of forces. We see, what is her name? I didn't write the queen's name down. Queen of the elves, queen of the free elves. Her and her husband are seeing that a lot of their, elf commandos are dying horribly. So It's a very costly war for them to do these invasions, but they do have the strength to impose on some of these areas. So they're imposing. And someone named Emery, King of Nilfgaard, is sort of the power behind these elves. And their sense is it's this or nothing. So it doesn't matter. They're sad that they're dying, but they have to extend in this way to get this girl to have the hope of this prophecy come true. Otherwise, they don't have a hope of winning at all. This is sort of the energy that we have in this invasion. It's the most action we end up getting in the book. Sort of a great knight with wings. I know at some point Gerald fights him and loses. And I think gets saved by Ciri. Somehow, and then somehow they end up separated, and he ends up with the elves, and she ends up getting caught in the woods or some mess. That part got convoluted. I won't lie. So Ciri, our Ciri gets she calls upon the flame, and she gets there's the door open to all power. She'll have god tier power and be able to vanquish all her foes in one go, and no one will be able to stop her. She gets the vision that in burning it might burn Geralt and kill a bunch of people she likes, and so she has to choose the way that it's presented. She chooses either yes or no, and no means no forever. So she goes for this power, says no to it, and then just gets locked out of it forever, which seems a little unfair, a little unjust, that a kid has to make that decision. And it's also kind of, disappointing. I would like to see an all-powerful wizard mage type chosen one roasting people. That seems like a fun book. So, she loses, we lose. What can we do? She then gets captured. What happens to Yennefer? I'm not exactly sure. I think she gets away when they get invaded. Geralt gets captured, escapes, and ends up in the woods with the elves. Ciri gets captured by goons who are going to take her to Nilfgaard, and then helps a guy or someone named Kaylee escape with their gang called the Rats. Then she goes with them for a while, and then she's basically sexually assaulted at the end of the book. And then the book ends with her leaving. And I'm like, was that an odd way for me to go? I'm like, yeah. It's just as odd for you as it was for me reading it. Very out of place. Very not enjoyable. I guess that wasn't supposed to be. Or was it? I get the sense that we're trying to do an edgy, medieval-esque fantasy, coming of age, realistic vibe thing. I think that's what the author was going for, but it doesn't land. It doesn't land very well at all. It seems very out of place. It is uncomfortable. Doesn't match any kind of a vibe we had going. And it's the 9th time in the book where she doesn't have any Witcher power all of a sudden. I thought she was trained to stab people. And it makes a point to say if you kill someone, that's it's crossing the Rubicon or something, and that she doesn't want to do it. But there's some part of training that sometimes just kicks in, and I just stabbed him before I knew it. That doesn't happen in this book. She always has enough control not to kill someone. But she can't fight anybody off, it seems like. Unless it's random. She's at a circus and she fights some kind of monster easily. She just handles that easily. She can jump out of a castle window and land on her feet and pirouette and, slice at 3 people easily. And then she can't, fight off a couple of people. It comes and goes in weird ways. I don't understand. But that's how the book ends. I'm not lying. it's an odd way to end. If you'd have cut again, if you cut that part off and just shove it in to start the next book, I bet it'd vibe better in the next book. And just this book without it, I guess, would flow a lot better for what flow that it has. I don't know. I read these books and I can see why they're popular, but then I also don't understand why they're popular. It's odd. I would say maybe it's a translation issue, but I think the author's still alive, or was alive at the time that they were translated. And I guess he had some say. I mean, he had enough say in these books to sue the game makers for more, for more cheddar cheese, as they say. So I'm assuming he was invested enough to look at the translations. I can't blame it on the translation. Strange books. That's The Witcher 2. What is it? What do I call it? The Time of Contempt. What's not strange are your beloved ads. This is a short video. I can't do anything about that. Sometimes they're short. Sometimes you want to blab your head off. These are my books. You can buy them. And I will get the money. And then I'll do stuff with the money. You can also get them on Kindle Unlimited, which is sort of like a Spotify-esque situation, but with books. So you have a lot of access to books, and then read them there, and then read other books, so that if mine suck, you are not out any money. I'm not sponsored by Kindle or Amazon or anything like this. I think it's just a good service. There it is. I know this one's short. I'm sorry. I'm not going to force myself to over talk a book. I'm also not going to force myself to not talk enough about longer books in the future to make a short video. I normally end around a 45, 50 minute mark on the long ones, and the short ones are short. So it is what it is, as they say. I will talk to you all next week.